Show. That's right. Welcome back, folks, to a bi-week breakdown edition of the Always Irish Show. And my voice is struggling, man. I'm recording this early Sunday morning, and I'm telling you, after whatever yelling is done during the game, then a 2.5 hour post-game show, then record a video that comes out Sunday morning. My voice is all messed up, man. Plus, you got this cold weather coming in behind the warm weather. I'm all messed up. Forgive my voice. Not as gravelly as usual. As always, you can find a program on YouTube. Thanks for being here. Hit subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out. Notification bell on. That way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, you know where it is. Search bar, Always Irish. Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my face. Nobody blames you for that. The call-in lines, they're popping. 312-900-8815. Dial it up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish Football brought to you by Sports Illustrated. Read all about it. And don't forget about patreon.com/alwaysirish. It's former captain Mike Goolsby, Jared Clark, teammate of Mike's. I got these Notre Dame players in the fold. They do the all 22 tape breakdown, offense, defense, everything. We do a live stream on Monday nights. Thanks for everybody that's over there. We're having a good time this year. Thank you very much. All right. Let's get into this. Here we are, folks. You made it to the break. Most of you, I think, are still alive and somewhat sane. I don't know how much hair you have left. Telling you, for as addicted to Notre Dame football as we all are, you're like me. You live for these 12 Saturdays a year, every year, your whole life and your whole family. It's not like fun. Like, it's not fun. Being a Notre Dame fan is not fun. It is all stress all the time, all worry all the time. But I'm not complaining about it. There's no other way I want to live. This is my lot in life. I'm just going to be stressed out. But it's not relaxing or like fun to watch Notre Dame. It is stress all the time. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's bad for my health. So we've made it to the bye. Most of us are still alive. Now we can exhale, take a little breather, and without another game barreling down right at us in a few days or whatever, now we can sit back and kind of exhale for a minute and take a look at some of these things. Take a look at where the program is and where it is not as we enter this bye-week break. I got 5 bullet points here. Again, I didn't want to overthink this. I just want to go, what is in my head here? This is what we're getting. 5 points as we enter the bye. Number 1, Northern Illinois killed the entire vibe of the whole year. And it should. Totally justifiable. I'm sorry. There's nothing you could do. You're not going to undo it. The Northern game killed the vibe for everything that's going to come after it. You can't trust Notre Dame because they did that. It also does not help that Northern has lost both their games they've had since playing Notre Dame. Northern killed the vibe. And it's like, John, we haven't lost since, and the team's got to move on. Yeah, I know. I'm not on the team. And I deal and interact with the fans every day. That result has lowered the emotional buy-in that's possible and capable of this fan group. And it's justified. I'm sorry. It's justified. You're not getting the reaction on the high end from all these wins because that Northern thing is in the back of your mind. And so the fans I feel it. They cannot fully buy in. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. A blowout over Purdue, one of the worst teams in America, doesn't undo the Northern night. It was just, you couldn't have it, and you had it. Okay? And there's no grindy win against Louisville that's going to overshadow the Northern embarrassment. This is our Appalachian State to Michigan. 15 years later, people are still going to play. Like, it was one of those moments. You can't undo that. I realize the players and the coaches got to go play the next week and whatever, fine. But for the media and the fans, they're not letting this go because you can't let it go. And that's justified. You can't lose to Northern Illinois at home in a must make the playoff year. You just can't. So that is weighing down all of the emotion of the year on the high end. It is what it is. Number 2. This team is beat up with injuries bad. You had third stringers out there against Louisville at a key part of the game. You had 4 true freshmen on defense out there against Louisville in a must-win game. Like, your offensive line, you're on like the 15th guy to start. Like, I'm just telling you, it's one of those years we are beat up bad. Some of this, if it's bumps and bruises and whatever, maybe, over the off bye week, you have a half a month to be able to feel better, whatever. But a lot of this stuff is longer term or for the year or whatever to key guys. It's rough, man. Burnham, Traore, whatever happened to Gray. You got Faison, I got an ankle again, and you already had. Telling you, man, it's just that whole offensive line. It's really, really, it's frustrating, man. Rubio out still, Burn. It's really frustrating, and there's nothing you could do. And it just makes you wonder, like, how much is that going to limit what this team could do in the second half or whatever? Because there's so many injuries. At some point, it's just insurmountable. And you're going to have mistakes because there's young guys out there that just shouldn't be playing yet that have to play. You take a bad angle and, So I don't know how much it's going to impact the second half of the year. But literally, you had 4 true freshmen out there in a must-win game against Louisville, playing key roles on defense because you needed them. That offensive line is, you wanted to go with the younger guys because the older guys weren't good enough. All the younger guys are beat up. Now the older guys that aren't good enough are out there. It's just, it's frustrating. And the problem is no one gives a crap. No one cares. Everybody's got injuries. You're halfway through the year. Everybody's got something. Like, nobody feels bad for Notre Dame. No one feels bad for Notre Dame. You got to go win your games no matter who's playing. Have depth. It's a tough spot to be when you're in a must-win every game the rest of the year situation like Notre Dame is. It's a rough place to be when you got 10 or 12 first or second stringers that are out. It's tough, but no one cares. You got to win anyways. Number 3. The defense does things sometimes to really frustrate you in spurts. Sometimes they give up way too much in a north-south run game. Every once in a while, they give up like a bad wide open pass at a bad part of the game or whatever. They do that and it frustrates you. But at the end of the day, the defense plays well enough for Notre Dame to win every game we're in every week. Am I mad you gave up almost 200 yards rushing and almost 200 yards passing to Northern Illinois? Yeah, I'm furious about that. You still only gave up. You didn't even give up 20 points. You got to win that ball game. Even that awful performance by their standards, almost 200 yards rushing and passing you gave up to Northern. You still gave up points in the teens and should be able to win that game. So they do some stuff that frustrates you and whatever, but they keep you in every game still. Number 4. The offense is not going to be what any of us want it to be this year. Just forget it. For like the 15th year in a row, just forget it. It's not going to look like any of us wanted it to look like. It isn't going to happen this year. So add it to the other 15 years in a row. You're going to be frustrated. It's just not possible. For a million different reasons. The O-line being injured. The quarterback's got a throwing problem. Denbrock's trying to find what plays he can run. And like, he needs to realize this ain't LSU or something. You better scheme up some different stuff. The wide receivers, are they good enough or not? Do they get open or not? Like, all of this stuff is in the mix, and it's all annoying. And the result is the offense is nowhere near good enough, and it doesn't look anything like you want it to look. And it ain't going to this year. It's really, really frustrating. But that's the bottom line. Not because Stone Cold said so, just because it is what it is. The offense is just not going to look like any of us want it to be. It's really frustrating. And again, when you ask why, that's frustrating too, because there's like 5 different things I could think of that all play a role. What percentage is each responsible for? I don't know. Denbrock's trying to find what he can run with this group. The O-line's just trying to field a team. The wide receiver's always a work in progress, apparently trying to figure out who could get open, and the quarterback has a throwing problem. I mean, it's everything. It's a little bit of everything. So just forget it. The offense isn't going to look anything like you want it to look, and it's nowhere near good enough. Period. Number 5. Good job by Marcus Freeman and the staff stabilizing things for now with the Louisville win. This was a very, very important game. You had to have it for a million practical and perceptual reasons, and you got it. Good job. Really, really good job. This was a very, very strong win against a well-coached, undefeated, top 20 team. Like, good win. Good win. But the pressure is still on you to win out. And now you got all these injuries and all that pressure where you can't lose again and you're out of the playoff and like whatever. And we'll save the discussion of, even if you're in the playoff, what could this team do? Like, that's a separate discussion. The goal is still to make it there. You know, you stabilize things getting into this bye week with this win, and your playoff dream's still alive. You had all these injuries. A run of games you should be able to win. But again, if you're capable of losing to Northern, you could lose to Stanford, Georgia Tech. Navy could run on you. Watch Florida State play the game of their life when they lose almost every week, and they'll come to Notre Dame and play good. The pressure's still on. Good job getting into this bye in the position you're in. But man, this is going to be a rough run if you got all these injuries piling up. So those are my bullet points, you guys. The Northern game, it follows you like a shadow, and it's not going away. Quit telling me, oh, you got to move on. I don't need to move on. I'm not playing any games. I don't need to move on to nothing. I move on to what? My next video or article I'm writing? I don't need to move on to nothing. So quit telling me I need to move on. The Northern game killed the vibe of the year. Deal with it. The team's beat up bad. That's going to be a problem the second half. Defense frustrates you, but plays good enough to win. The offense just isn't going to look anything like a real-world offense you need it to be this year. Forget that dream. And Freeman, good job stabilizing it, but you got a rough road ahead with all these injuries. It was a rough road when you were mostly whole. It's going to be rough. So, regular on the show, regular caller, Patreon subscriber, everything, Andrew Gilmore on the post-game show on the call-in show after the Louisville game, he said it best. He said, John, Notre Dame is a week-to-week team right now, and we cannot afford to look any further down the road than that. Totally agree. We were talking about the playoff, and if you make it, where are you going to end up? Whatever. And his position is, it's fair. Like, Notre Dame's a little inconsistent, and this is a week-to-week operation. You got to just win these games one by one, check them off, see where you're at the end of the year. I agree with that assessment. That's where Notre Dame's at. It is a week-to-week team with all these injuries and inconsistencies. That's just the way it's going to be, and you're going to sweat it out week by week. How healthy can Notre Dame get over the bye, and can you figure out a way to be more consistent in what you do? The overall operation and how you play offensively, like whatever it is, these special teams miscues, how much more consistent can you get? And how much healthier can Notre Dame get over the bye? So those are like where my 5 bullet points here as we enter the bye week, a much needed one for Notre Dame to get healthy and for all of us to catch our breath and let my air grow back and my blood pressure come back in the non-stroke range. What do you guys think? Talk to you soon.